Right, well, hello again. Here we are on a very gloomy, cold winter's day, and this is part one of the real project to make a start on my new bike here, my Kawasaki Z650B. So I covered buying the bike in the last video, which is my birthday present, which is the first video on the playlist for this particular build thread. So I won't cover that again. So in this video, we're going to go through the problems I found, what we're going to do about it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, get the bike started. But before then, we're just going to talk about the problems I found. And so we'll start off by talking about the bodywork. And first of all, this left-hand side panel should have 3 mounts on the back of it. It's only got 1 left, the other 2 have been broken off. Now I could fix that, we know a fix for that, which I've covered in a previous video, which I'll put the link in the comments below. But this one is quite badly cracked and broken, so I think I won't try and rescue this one. I'm going to buy a used second-hand one with the full 3 spruces on the back of it. Looking on eBay, there aren't many that you can find that aren't broken like this. It's a very common fault. I have found a few, and they're all about £60 each. So I have to bite the bullet and spend the money to get a new version of this particular side panel. So we'll put that down. Next up, this rather tatty looking seat unit. I don't think it belongs with the bike. It's got cracks in it. It's been repaired in the past on the back. I don't want to use that again. So I've currently got somebody who says he's got a spare one of these things. So I'm just waiting to hear from him as to how much he wants for it. So that could be a good buy. Next up, you might notice I don't have a seat because the bike didn't come with a seat. I thought, no problem. I bought a really nice Giliari replica seat off eBay for the green Z650 that I'm very, very happy with. So I thought, right, great, I'll buy one of them. Unfortunately, the chap who sells them is called Bob the Seat on eBay. Doesn't seem to be active anymore, so he's not selling them anymore. So I've got to find an alternative. But anyway, that's the bodywork. Also hit the back of the bike. This chrome rear fender, rear mudguard's got a big crack in it here at the back. Not sure how far it goes. I think it's been hit at the back at some point. Got a crack right below the number plate. I'll show you a photograph of that. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Also at the front of the bike, on the front mudguard, it's got a big dent here at the back. 2 big dents, in fact. I think it's probably hit the exhaust pipes at some point for some reason. Maybe somebody dropped the, I don't know why that would happen, but it looks like it's banged into the exhaust pipe, so that can't stay. And actually the chrome on this isn't too fantastic, so we'll get that replaced. You can buy replica ones from Z Power, although that said I don't think they come with this stay, and that's okay, I don't like it anyway. I know it's not original, but the bike won't be original, so we'll get that replaced. I've got one on the green 650, looks really nice, really well made. I'm not sure what to do about the rear one, you can't get them, so we'll have to worry about that another day. Exhaust system, really like it, a Gurkha. Apparently loads of people want this. He said to me, oh, if you don't want it, I'll have it off your bike off you, because apparently they're very well wanted. It's a bit rusty, but we can treat that, take it to Cam Coat, and they can give it a really cool finish. I mean, either chrome light finish or even do it all black. Lots of Gurkhas in the past have been black, like those on the famous Eddie Lawson replica Kawasaki Zs. You know, they're all black, so maybe we can do that. Right, so that's the sort of general bodywork that we can see. I've also got a problem because this switch gear, the left-hand side is not too bad, but the right-hand side, oh dear me, even the starter button's missing, and all the wires, I'll show you a photograph of it, all the wires have been cut, and in fact they go through inside the handlebars for some reason. I think maybe in this particular year they did, and that's probably the reason why when I put a battery on this thing and tried to turn it on, nothing happened. So that's what I want to do today. I want to try and sort out this wiring or bypass it in some way and see if I can get the bike ticking over. So that's going to be something I'll do in about an hour's time. I'm busy this morning, but that's a real big priority for me. Right, so there's the bike. We've done its bodywork. Quick check. It seems like I've got some new coils on here. That's good. Only cheap coils, but that will do for now. The wiring looks not too bad actually. These are all the original wires. Obviously someone's got a bit mad with it and been messing with it. But my issue now is to get the wires from the handlebar switch here, which have all been cut, get them out of the handlebar and work out what's going on. down here is the fuse box. We'll check that, and the main fuse is okay. It's a white wire, that's fine. So now I'm going to somehow get the wires out of here and work out what's going on. I've got to refer back now to my manual, because I don't know what these wires do off by heart. But yeah, it's pretty much as expected, really. I don't expect it to be perfect, and it's not, but then again, it's pretty damn original. So that's something, I suppose. Right, well, I'll spend some time now unwrapping all the wiring and working out what's going on. So I'll come back when I've done that. And so now I've worked out that this wire here is the one going to the broken switchgear on the right-hand side. So these wires obviously don't do anything because the switchgear is all smashed up and broken. So now what I've got to do is work out what they do, go and check my manual, and hopefully work out a way of bypassing a switch so I can get the bike to start. Right, so I'm trying to pull out this wire from inside the handlebars so we can see what's going on, because the colours, as I say, change colour halfway along here, and I want to know which one's which, what's going on. Aha! So suddenly we see lots of tape, which is certainly non-standard. So let's unwrap all that and work out what's going on, because right now I'm very confused. So straight away I've got a dodgy connection there, going from a brown wire to an orange wire, so no wonder I can't work out what's going on. That was all hidden inside the handlebar. I think the brown one's the one I really care about. That's the starter motor wire, from what I can gather. Right, let's not mess about, just cut the damn thing off. There we go. Right, so it's just started to rain, so it's not an ideal time to play around with electrics, but I just want to do this one thing before I stop until the rain stops. I've got the battery plugged in now to what I think is the negative and positive terminals here in the centre of the bike, and I've combined together the three wires from the right hand switchgear. I think one is starter, one is kill switch, and the other one is obviously the return. So I think if you put them all together it should start. So let's see, I'll turn the key. Oh yes, I've got a neutral light on and an oil light on. That's a bloody start. Anyways, that's great. I wonder, so the question is, have I also now given power to the coils? And if I have, that means if I give it some petrol, it might actually start. But as usual, it's just starting to rain, and I can't work out within the rain, so I'll have to wait until the rain stops to have a go with that. And I might try and jury rig up some fuel supply to the carbs in the meantime. But yeah, so far so good. I've got power to the console and I understand the wiring. It doesn't help that this switchgear on this side is completely non-standard and doesn't work with the bike, and some idiot in the past has fitted it, just to sort of keep the bike running, which is what you did back in the 80s and 90s with old motorbikes. So come back in a minute or whenever the rain stops and we'll carry on and hopefully make some more progress. Right, I'm just going around the bike to check reasons why it might not start, and I found 3 of the 4 spark plugs weren't even screwed very far into the head, so I've sorted that out. But then I discovered this HT lead with a massive damage to it. Look at that. No wonder that doesn't work anymore. It's absolutely knackered. Luckily, I think I've still got the HT leads from the green 650 that I swapped over. They're somewhere packed away, so let me go and find them and hopefully we can swap these over and try again. Okay, so I brought out the big guns, literally. This massive 30 amp hour battery I was taken from my Guzzi. There's the old one, little test battery, and it's a massive one. This should easily turn over the engine, no problem. So got it wired up. Feel we've got here. I'll have to choke it off, I think, for the time being. Ignition key on. So now I've just got to connect these 2 solenoid connectors and we should get some action. This is a lot more powerful than the old one, so I want to be careful with this. I've cleaned up this little screwdriver, got a good connection on it, and hopefully it'll be okay. Here we go. Well, a bit of a spark there, so no action. Let's try with the choke on. I don't want to flood it. So far, so bad. I have checked the power to the coils and they do have 12 volt power. So this doesn't start. I think the problem is with the points, which is bad news for me because I hate points. Don't want to mess with them. I much prefer electronic ignition. So this bike doesn't have electronic ignition standard. It's got points, so I'm going to change that out when we get time and money to a Dyna S system, which is a far superior system. Can't stand points. Right, here we go. Try again. No. Oh well, at least the starter motor works okay, and that's one win. Right, so while I've got more power, I just thought I'd try some other areas of the bike. And the first thing I notice is this indicator is now on all the time. Shouldn't be, but it is. So let's try a few more things. Will the indicators work? Let's try this side. Is it working? No. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it's a bit slow, but it's working. As is the rear one. So that's great. I've got those two working now. And then on the other side, it was on before, but it wasn't flashing. So let's see. Yeah, it's flashing. Is that flashing as well? Yeah, a bit weak. I think I've got a poor connection there. That's why it's probably on all the time. So that's something. And in fact, the bike has a brand new flashing unit, I noticed, behind the side panel there. So that's great. That's a win. What else can we do? Will the horn work? Oh, yes, it will. Little horn. I do know the brake light works. In fact, the light's on here now, but there's nothing on the front headlamp on. So it could be that the bulbs, I mean, looking at this, it's all taped up. I suspect it doesn't even have a bulb in it, but we'll see. And as you said before, the brake light also works, which is great. So slowly, you know, it's coming alive. What I don't know though is why I've not got the damn thing running yet. I've got fuel, I've got compression, I've got power going to the coils. I think I might take out a plug and see how wet it is. Maybe I've got it too wet. Let them dry off a bit and just hold it against the cylinder head and see if I've got a spark or not. Something you can't really do when you're trying to kickstart it. But now I've got the starter motor working, I can try that next, I think. So let's just carry on. Right, so I've taken out the spark plug. It's a bit sooty. It smells of petrol, not surprisingly. So I'm just going to hold it against the cylinder head here to get an earth, and we'll see if we get a spark. This is a way you could do with several people doing this, but it's only me. So here goes. I suspect we won't get anything at all. No, not even a spark. So the problem I think lies with the points. So let's dig into that next. Alright, so let's have a look inside the points cover. The dreaded points, old-fashioned points. Let's have a look, and there it is. So what can we see? Well, we've got the 2 points here, and these are the condensers. Everything looks okay. There's no obviously chewed up fasteners, no corrosion, no broken wires I can see. He's going to move. Actually, I do with just turning it over. Yeah, I think I could do with just turning the engine over. So let me find a socket to fit that nut in there. Let me turn it so it's closed on this one, and I can check voltage from the coil to, there you go, that's now closed, so I can check if I've got any voltage going to from the coils to the points. That'll be fun. So I'll do standard voltage, turn the ignition key on, the battery's attached, there we go, got power, so get untangled. So I've got voltage coming from the coil down here into the points, which then goes, well, it actually goes to the condensers first, then into here, then into there. So if I go from here, say, back to earth, something like that. Yeah, I've got, well, not very much. I've got something. What about that one? Yeah, it's got some as well. But what about going from here, so there, get the power come through here for that spring until it touches the point here. So if I do that, have I got power? Yes, I have, but this one I shouldn't have because, yeah, I don't have it there because that's now open, and that makes sense. So I'm getting power from the coil to the points area, so why won't it bloody spark? I don't know. And so now here we are the next day, and it's a bit windy, but we'll do our best. And my suspicions fall on these coils as being the source of the problem. They're not original, they're made by someone called Watt Young, clearly some sort of cheap Chinese coils. When I tested them, they showed about 2.7 ohms when they should be 4 ohms. That shouldn't really make a big difference in terms of just having a spark, but clearly they're not correct. Also, the problem could lie in the HT leads. So what I've done is I've ordered a brand new pair of the correct coils from Z Power, along with new leads and plugs. They just turned up about a minute ago, so let's get them changed over, and fingers crossed it should give me the spark we need to get the engine running at last. And so let's try again, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this will work. I've got the new coils installed, but I've only so far fitted one plug cap and one plug. So I'm just going to try and fire up the bike, get the engine turning over, and see if I've got a spark. So wish me luck. Not feeling it right now, so that's okay. I'll just hold it against the engine. So let's see what happens. Here we go. No, not a thing. So brand new coils, brand new leads, brand new plug caps. Admittedly an old plug, but that shouldn't make any difference. And I've still got no spark. So clearly I'm missing something here, something very obvious that I can't see for looking. So let's just stop, have a cup of tea and think about it. And now I'm back after a tea break and having a quick look on the internet to see what the experts say. And a few people have pointed out that the problem could lie down here with the condensers. So I've got my multimeter out, and one check I can do is to go from the so-called pigtail or pigtail here, which carries the current in, to the outside of the case. So if we do that, you can see I've got 0 resistance, and that's wrong. It should be something like 5 mega amps, or sorry, 5 mega ohms. Certainly it shouldn't be 0. And I think that might be the cause of all my troubles, because current can leak out of this to the outside of the case, onto the back plate, and God knows where else it can go. But I think that might sort of stop the points from working correctly. So the answer is, let's replace these two condensers. But they're all soldered into place, they're all original. And to be honest, I hate these points anyway. I've always hated them. I've had bad experiences with points back in the day with things like little Hondas and CZs. I was always messing with them, and they were always causing me great problems. So I'm going to rip out this thing next week and fit a brand new Dyna S electronic ignition system, which I've used before on lots of other bikes, and I know they work well and give a really strong spark. But I'll have to wait until next week when I can afford to buy the damn thing, because they're about £180 altogether. But the bike needs to have it. I was going to fit them anyway when I restored the bike, so I may as well fit it now, and that will hopefully get the engine running at last. And so by the end of next week, I'm going to have a new Dyna S ignition system on the bike, at which point the whole of the ignition system is completely new. I'll have new coils, new leads, new plug caps, new plugs, and a new Dyna S ignition. And that should, fingers crossed, give me a spark I need to get the damn engine running at last. Well, hopefully anyway. So normally I go out right now and order that Dyna S ignition. But this month's been a very expensive month for me for buying bikes and parts of bikes. And I've been starting to buy the parts I need for this bike. And in particular, this rather big box has just turned up this morning. And in here is a standard, brand new seat for the bike. Something I thought I couldn't find. I was intending to buy a Giliari seat, like the one I've got on the Green 650, but apparently the chap who sells them on eBay is no longer trading. So I was looking around to see what I could do, and I found this seat from a large company called Classic Bike Spares. Wasn't cheap, it was £225, but apparently it's UK made, very good quality, so hopefully it'll be worth the money. Now that is a lot of money, but if you look at the alternatives out there, what I could have done was bought an old second-hand ripped seat from the likes of D&K. They go from between sort of £50 and £100, depending on the quality of them, with a rusted seat base, foam stuffing coming out of them, ripped vinyl and so on. I could then buy a new seat cover, they're about £40–50, and then get a local upholsterer to fit the new seat cover with new foam and so on. And they're not cheap. I mean, I got a seat upholstered recently by a local chap. He did a good job, and that was £150, although he did make his own seat cover. But if you add up all those prices, it's coming close to the cost of this seat here, which is all finished anyway, which is £225. I've also been buying some other small parts, such as let's see, side panel badges. I've actually bought over here somewhere. Wait a minute, I'll go and find it. I've actually been buying this as well. In this tube we have two 1 metre bars of 10mm stainless steel bar, and I bought them because we're going to make our own new stainless steel engine bolts, just as we've done for the green 650. That's all happening right now. So I'm slowly sort of buying the parts I need and doing some work in preparation for the big restoration on the bike. Now, coming to the project itself, once I get the engine running fine, I've got a decision to make, quite a big decision, in terms of what happens next with the project. I've got two choices. I can either patch it up as best we can and ride it over the summer or the spring and summer using what I've got now, sort of rusty frame, rusty you know, mud guards, standard brakes and so on, rusty old tank, and just use it best we can and hopefully it'll work fine. And then at some point in the future, next winter or whatever, when I've got more space and time, strip it all down and do a full restoration stroke modification on the bike. Or I can say, hang on, in the next 2 months or so, I've got a little window of time when I've got some space and time in the garage, when the Mark II's not here, and that gives me a bit of freedom in terms of what I do with the bike. In which case, I've got about 2 months, 2 months max probably, to strip the bike down completely and restore it. And me knowing me, I do not want to be riding around on that bike with a rusty tank, rusty frame, you know, brakes which are marginal at best, worn out shocks and so on. So at the moment I'm sort of edging towards, let's do a complete rebuild, a very fast complete rebuild for me. My rebuilds often take years, as you know if you've been watching my channel for a while, they do take a long time. But in this case, I don't have a long time, so I'm going to do a really fast project for me, and hopefully it'll take me half a day to strip down the bike completely, take the frame to Triple S, get it powder coated, blah blah blah, replace parts as necessary, clean up the engine. I think I will get some parts vapor blasted, like the cam cover can be cleaned up a bit, and I'll polish the engine case and so on, replace all the fasteners with stainless, all the usual things. And one thing I will do is I'll build my own wiring harness. I've done exactly the same thing on the green 650 here. It's working really well, using a new electronic control box from Germany from a chap called Axel Just. Very happy with it. In fact, I just bought one for my Guzzi behind me here, so I can fit that. I've got the wiring diagrams already that I've already drawn out, so it should be quite a simple process, just repeating what I've done for the green bike. Of course, the green bike already has electronic ignition, so it doesn't need to have Dyna S ignition fitted. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do, and that'll all start in the next episode, when hopefully we get the engine firing up for the first time. If it doesn't fire up, then all bets are off. We may have to strip the engine down and work out what the hell's going on. So join me then in the next episode in a week or two's time, when we'll get cracking and hopefully get the engine running at last. So for now, thanks for watching and cheers.